Join world-renowned psychic Tracey Lee as she chats candidly about life with the gift of being able to reach out and communicate with those who have crossed over to the other side.
We're back.
Well, yes, again, we didn't go anywhere, but we are back.
Oh, you know what we do? We go back, come back next week with the same clothes.
No.
But I actually brushed my hair 3 times in a row.
Oh, my God. Anyway, thank you. I suppose you showered? Today's shower day, is it? That's awesome. All right. So we were talking last episode about one-on-one readings and the stuff that you get and all that. And, yeah, I did some sneakies and got a little bit of stuff I've already heard. But anyway, it was good. Thank you. What I want to talk about now is the actual shows that you do. So I've self-appointed like myself as your roadie, number one roadie, because I get weekends away with you, which is awesome.
That's not what she says in the car.
No, because when some of the places we go to, I'm like, we're in the... Anyway, they're nice places. They are nice places. It's good to travel.
My sense of direction that gets you, doesn't it? Every time.
So, and look, we do meet some really interesting people. We have... Yeah, we've got some good stories, but in all seriousness, the mediumships or the shows, let's talk about them. So let's talk about the preparation to a show. Like, we talked briefly in other episodes about you zoning out and all that sort of stuff. And there's been, again, quite a few questions that have come through about how it impacts you physically and all that sort of stuff. There's things you talk about in your show, when you have a lot of people there seeing you for the first time, you'll say a few things and people will be shocked and it's like, no, and you'll explain. So there's a little bit about the how you deal with spirituality and things that you talk about in your show. So I want you to talk me through that or talk us through that.
So when I'm doing a show and say we've got, let's say 100 people.
But hold on, I want to know leading up to the show first.
Like days before?
Whenever. When does it sort of like, so especially the away ones too, because they would be hard because we're travelling, you've got a lot going on. So I know the local ones, like you'll say, I can see by the end of the night you are
shattered.
Like you've had a joint or something, I don't know what, but you just you are.
Off chops.
But when we go away, so say we've got one, like we did the Dubbo one and that this year. Do you have things happen a certain time frame before? Does it happen on what's going on with those?
No, not really, because I still work, so I'm still doing my individual readings. It's when I stop.
Right.
I start having dreams. I start having visions.
Oh.
So then I might just park them. I say park them. I might go, okay, I've got you. I've got it. I know what I'm doing with that. And when I get to a show, I'm spang straight into it. I don't fluff around. I do the thing, please turn your phones off, blah, blah, blah. But then I'm bang into it because they've been waiting. They know they've been waiting. So I get to a show we set up and all the rest of it. And I just like that minute to centre or to ground.
Yeah, until you start talking to everybody and then you don't. Yeah. I've got to tell her off. Tracey, you need to go. But yes, I do know you like to have that time.
I like to have that 10 minutes where I just sit and I just ground and I just meditate and bring through what I need. And the other thing I do, which I do every day, is I thank them for being with me. I say, thanks for today, thanks for coming. I know you don't think that I'm that way inclined.
No, but I can't imagine you being so polite.
It's a spirit, it's not you.
Yeah, I know, but still, that's nice. That's nice that you do that.
I do believe that this is like some people say it's a blessing, some people say it's a curse, but I believe it's a blessing. So I'm always grateful. I say, I thank you, protect me. I always ask for protection. And I always sit there for a minute and say, thank you for coming. What have you got for me? I always do that because I believe this is a gift that was given and I believe they can take it away as soon as they give it to me. So that's why I don't care who's in front of me.
Because they choose you, don't they?
I don't believe you choose to do this. Like there are people out there that'll go, oh, look at Tracey Lee. She's doing this, she's doing that. Oh, I could do that. They don't know that I've worked for 20 years building this up to the thing that it is now. And I've always flown under the radar. I tried to engage with other people, but it just doesn't work because it's a very competitive world. So I just do my own thing. I stay in my lane. I don't worry about anyone else, but I always say thank you. I'm always grateful. I always ask them to bring people through to me. And I did a group once. So I do a lot of like, I do intimate, I do big, I do whatever. And I was at an intimate and it was so funny. I had this man, I can see him as clear as day, and he was talking the whole way through the show, and I thought, Jesus, this bloke hates me.
Someone, a person at the show.
Yeah.
Because I don't like those people. I'm just putting it, I don't like those people.
But he's talking, and he's talking to his wife, blah. And I'm thinking, this bloke hates me. He thinks I'm, and then he puts me off because I'm like, oh, shit, what have I said or done? Anyway, he comes up to me at intermission and he goes, oh, you're doing such a great job. He said, I can see them all behind you. He said, there's 4 men playing cards, and he said, and he's letting them through one at a time. And I'm like, what the hell is this bloke on? I've looked at him, I went, oh, Jesus, thanks. Well, that's really good, but could you be a little bit more quieter the second half, because you're actually putting me off, because I thought I was doing so. Oh, yes, no, you're great. And he left me a really good review. He ended up being some really well-renowned psychic from England.
Oh.
And he turned up at this dodgy little hotel in Campbelltown where I was reading 30 people, and sat there, and he did this. And I said, well, how did you find me? Like, he said, I seen something on Facebook. He said, I came up, and I said to my wife, let's drive out there and look at this girl. And that's what he said to me.
So that's the difference between intimate too. If we just go back, because you mentioned intimate. So intimate is when you have your 30, 40 people and a smaller room, okay? Smaller. And then the mediumship, so when we go to a club or something and you're selling 100, 200 West, what do we get at West every year? 400? Yeah. So that's the difference, just so people know.
But when we go back to the big crowds, it doesn't matter how big the crowd is. If you're meant to get the message, you'll get the message. Yep. And I believe too, some messages, like I might say, let's just say I give a reading, but it might resonate with someone else. So someone else might have, they might go, okay, I can understand that. I'll take that as well. It's not always for one person, because it can be, I'm not saying generic because it's not generic, but there can be multiple meanings for readings. But back to the original question, yes, I prepare. Yes, I spend 10 or so minutes thanking them. And at the end of the night, I always give my gratitude again. Like, I do it. I don't publicly do it because people think I'm mad enough.
I would if I saw you chanting or...
No, I don't chant. I just sit there for a second, and when I say thank you to everyone for attending, I'm also not meaning just them physically. I'm talking about this mob. And sometimes I don't get through everyone, hence the reason I don't sleep. So you've been away with me, and I'll be up till 3, 4 in the morning, and then I've got to get up, drive.
So how do you deal with that? Like, because I know on the night you say if you don't own them, they're not going to leave me alone. So if they don't get to come through, and they've got a message, how do you deal with it? Do you have to block them, and what do you have to...
No, I make sure I get the message.
No, but you've left the show. All the people are gone. How do you get the message to the right person? No,
I always make sure in that moment I deliver the message to where it's meant to go.
Yeah, what about the people that are waiting on the other side to come through?
No, they miss out. They just miss out. They have to wait till next time.
Can we just clarify too while we're here? It doesn't matter where you sit in the room, right? No. So you can turn up. The show starts at 7, and you can turn up at 2:00 in the afternoon. If you want the front seat, you can have it, mate, but it's not going to make a difference, right?
Doesn't make any difference.
Just want to confirm that, because I don't think people understand that.
No, it doesn't matter where you are in the room.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, some people, like I did Port Macquarie recently, and the first thing I say is just own it, because if you don't own it, they'll badger me, and I need to get the message, and blah, 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 and people just sit there. Well, I go to Port Macquarie, and I start talking, and I said, I've got 2 boys here, they've been involved in an accident, and I feel like it was with a car, blah blah. No one owned it, right? No one. I was like, God, Jesus. And I was, I'm relentless. I just have to keep going.
Which is what I like. To me, that's more authentic. It's not like, oh, well, don't worry about it, I'll just move on to the next one. Yeah,
I got to get it right. And I'm saying, I'm here, I'm in this group here, I'm here, and I'm pointing to 3 rows. I said, I'm with you lot. Nah. And it would have gone on, like, I don't want to waste time on it, because I say at the start, if we waste time on me trying to get the message, other people are missing out. And then don't come to me at halftime say, oh, well, that was for me because it's gone. So anyway, someone in the front said, Google it. So someone did Google it. someone on the side Googled 2 boys in a car accident in the last 10 years. Sure enough, it was 2 boys that were playing chicken on the highway. They got run over. But what had happened was the group I was pointing to, they were their neighbours. Their friends, they were friends with the father.
Oh.
But didn't get the connection.
Yeah, because
they're looking because they are waiting for their mum. They're waiting for their mum, right? Or whoever. Yeah. So I said to her, why didn't you grab... And there wasn't one row that knew them. There was 3 rows. The 3 rows I was pointing at, all of them knew these 2 boys. But because I think people think, oh, it's family, it's all that. It's not necessarily family. But the message was about the father, right? So unbeknownst to me, I deliver the message. I said, whoever's in connection, they need to find out about the father, what's going on with the father, blah, 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 blah. Give the message. Fine, move on. She comes for a personal reading because when I go up the coast, I do readings up there. She comes for a personal reading, and I don't remember. Like, it's gone for me. Like,
she's pretty kind of
vague.
Yeah.
Anyway, she says, "Oh, by the way, that you talked about those 2 boys, and this is a week or so later, and in between that, I've done another 3 shows, so it's like a blur." And I took a minute. I went, "Oh yeah, the father. The message was to tell her husband the father had actually died, and he didn't know." So her partner was friends with the father and the boys, and his partner would go past her partner would go past the crash site every day and say, "Oh, hi boys, hey, how are you going?" But he didn't know the boy's father had died, and that was the message.
Right. Okay.
So, but I had to get that to the right spot. You know what I'm saying? Because it's
but I think it's hard for people. And I've seen it nearly every show. And every show Tracey does the same spiel. You've got to own it. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. And usually it's the first one.
First one.
She'll be like it's like that. She comes out the gate quick, and then it's sort of she just slows to a trot because people are looking around and it's like. But I get it because people are there. They get caught in. The moment they they want a particular person to come through, and they have to understand that it's not always them that will deliver the message if they've got one.
I mean, you've seen that one when we did Marina's Symphony. Your mum was there, which is Jess's behind the camera. I'm not talking to myself. Well, it could be, but anyway,
it wouldn't be the first time.
So I did the hospital, and the name. There might be 3 Tracys in the room. We did that hospital. And then the first cab off the rank, I get the name, and no one's owning it. And then some smart ass in the audience goes, "Oh, maybe they've come to the wrong party." And I get burred up, right? And I go, "No."
She gets a little bit cranky.
I do, because I'm trying so hard, I'm working so hard, and flippant comments throw me, and I go, "No, I know where I am." And I was pointing in that direction. And I said, "Oh, yeah, but he's talking horses are very important. Horses are important." And then this girl goes, "Oh, well, that's my grandfather and I'm a show jumper."
Yeah, pretty much.
So I understand that people are like, "Oh, no, I don't want to, it might not be for me." But
I don't understand that from a person who doesn't do what you do. But I'm intrigued. I don't understand why someone would buy a ticket to your show and then sit there all night and hope to God that you don't have anything for them. I don't get that. It's why buy a ticket? You have a choice to be there. You have a choice to be there and to accept what's going on in the room. If you're buying a ticket to go there just to be disruptive, why would you do that? Like, why would anyone do that? It's like going to an AC/DC concert when you like classical music. Why would you do that to yourself?
That's right, you don't do it.
I don't. So I don't agree with that. I think if you're going to go and it's for you, that you need to be like you're an adult. We went to the Wollongong show, one of the Wollongong shows I remember, and Tracey, because Tracey's sort of not with it, she didn't really understand what happened until after the show. But there were 2 ladies at the back of the room, and I could see one wanted to be there and one didn't. And lo and behold, it was the woman that didn't want to be there. Tracey's all of a sudden got this mail come through, and
I don't even remember.
He was into some bodgy stuff. You know this one. And Tracey's going to this lady. There was money involved. There was investments, something. He's upset. And this lady's like, "No, Tracey hadn't even finished reading her. She was up out of the room. She was gone. She didn't want to know because everything Tracey was saying, she was squirming in her chair. And I'm like, you stupid lady. Like what? And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. You know what you're coming to. You're advertised as a psychic, not as a belly dancer and they're coming to, which would be hilarious. But do you know what I mean? It's not like it's false advertising. You know what you're in the room for.
Yeah, that's right.
So you either own it or you just don't go. That's me, but I'm a bit hard ass like that because I've seen how serious you are with your. This is your life. Like this is what you do.
And it's me. And I take offence. It'd be like someone saying
100%
to you don't do a good job in what you're doing, and that's. For me, I want to make sure I'm delivering the right messages and I'm delivering them well because I think it's an important job that I've got. I'm not saying that, well, I've changed lives. I'm not big noting myself, but I've had kids come here, boys in particular, and I've said, you're doing X, Y, Z. If you keep doing that, you're going to end up in jail. Your friend's going to be in jail, blah, blah, blah. And they've come back and said to me, you've changed my life because I was on that path and my friend is in jail. Like, there are moments where people out there behind, the spirit world are looking after them and they want them to do the right thing. The funniest one with the Wollongong, are you talking about the last Wollongong one? That wasn't the last Wollongong one, was it?
No, this is a while ago.
So what about those boys in that front row? So we had a group of, let's say, what can we call them? Mischievous boys.
Yeah.
Mischievous boys.
The rule brokers, probably,
Yeah, and they came up to me before the show and they were all, muscly and they looked better than me. They had their hair done. I'm sure they had makeup on. They were just...
So they weren't that bad, but yeah.
You know what I mean.
You could tell they had a little bit of a bad edge to them. Not bad in bad, but yeah.
There was an element to it. And one of them walked up to me and he goes, I'll just so you know, I don't believe in this. And I said, just so you know, I don't give a shit, mate. I don't care. Like, let's call it as it is. Anyway, I'm doing the show because they weren't there for me. They were there for someone else. And I'm doing the show and they were talking. And I said, boys, can you shut up? Like, I said, boys, shut up. Yeah. Like, I was straight to the point. I said, you're not being fair, just shut up. They're like being at school. And I'm talking these blokes... Like, you wouldn't want to meet them in a dark alley.
No.
Then I got someone for one of them.
A mate. It was a mate.
A mate that had drowned. And I talked about everything. And they were all, weren't they squirming? They were crying.
Yeah.
They were
they couldn't shut up quick enough. It
they're
was
like yeah. And I go, and who has just had the big tattoo done on the back that no one knows about? It's a big cross. And he stood up and he showed the tattoo. And it was his brother that had drowned. And
in the garage with lots of cars
that shouldn't be in there.
It's like they're looking at each other. Nah, bro, you know, like this. So,
and I go, you have to move the bikes. Like I was telling him, because he was telling me because they were, And anyway, at the end they came up to me and they said, "Oh my God!" And there was an after party, and I didn't go to the after party because it's not my scene. I just want to deliver messages. I don't want to get caught up in the rubbish. And I mean, I've had other psychics say to me, "Oh, what are you doing reading people that are naughty?" And I said, "Well, I don't know they're naughty until they get here."
Is it a choice for you anyway? No. If that's from everything you're saying, it's not really a choice.
It's not a choice.
No.
And just because they're made different life choices doesn't mean they don't have loved ones that want to talk to them, which I find ironic because I don't choose who comes and I don't choose who comes either direction. And they all went out to a party after it. There was an after party and they all went, and apparently my Instagram page that night exploded and I got that many bookings from them, and they were all calling each other, "Come down, listen to what this mad woman said, blah, 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 blah." But it was just so funny because their looks on their faces, they were like, like it was fear.
No, it was
fear.
Once you hit a few things, I remember that night, they were all sitting there with their arms crossed. They were so defensive, but they couldn't, but their faces were like, they were side-eyeing each other like this.
Tears started. There's this big burly element of men with, colourful lives bawling their eyes out, and I'm like, yes. Shouldn't say that.
No, but it is, especially when they declare to you at the beginning, "I don't believe in it." I mean, of course, it's going to be a win-win for you. So, shows. So we do the shows, and we've had some funny moments. So I find with the shows that there's some, I don't know how you do it. I don't think actually I've ever seen you
break
down. I don't know how you do it. There's been a couple that have stuck with me that I struggle. I have to leave the room or I've got to turn away. How do you control that? I know you laugh. I know we have a good laugh and you and I'll banter and try and bring that mood. But how do you stop yourself from some of these, and I'm talking the
tragics.
They're horrible.
So early on, there was a lady that used to come to all my shows. And it was an intimate, there was 40 of us, and she was a Scottish lady, and I remember her story so vividly. She's passed now, but she had her partner came through. He was the most abusive man I've ever encountered on this side. And I'm saying to her, and we've got 40 people in the room, and I'm saying to her, oh, he's shown me jumping off a coffee table onto your stomach. And she said, matter of factly, she goes, yep, and I was 8 months pregnant and the baby was born with a broken nose and 2 black eyes.
Oh, my God.
And I said, and I'm holding it together, right? And then I go, what's the thing with the back of your legs? Oh, he used to burn me with cigarettes all down the back of her legs. The whole back of her legs was scarred. Yeah. She had, and the story went on and on and on. That's the only time I actually said after reading her, I said, I think we'll stop and we'll have a quick break, because I was like... because I could see it and I was feeling it. So I quickly learned after that for me to continue doing this, I had to protect myself, which is what I talk about now, where I protect myself. Because if I take on all the emotion from every sad reading, and let's face it, when you do these, you were at Bathurst when I seen that stabbing, and that girl lost 3 people through a murder in one night.
The one at Bathurst, but that stuck with me was the parents that were at the front, and their son had committed suicide over a love triangle.
Okay, I don't remember.
Yeah, that's one of the ones. There's a couple of others, but just watching those parents sit there, holding each other's hands, and you validating everything they were saying, and the son, it was a split decision, and he's saying he regretted it, but it was his mate and the girl he loved, right? And then they confirm at the end of it that they are together. Yeah. Like, how as parents, I could not get over the fact that they could even sit there because Karen was there then, and her and I looking at each other trying not to cry. I just don't know how you do it.
But I have to protect myself, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to keep on doing it.
Yeah, I know.
And after that first one, I did learn to protect myself, because I have got message, and it's not that I'm heartless, because there are a few that moved me, like the assisted dying last week moved me. I do get moved by them, and I do, but I also get joy out of delivering that message, because it meant so much to that husband and wife. So if I took it on and was all sadness, I wouldn't be able to deliver the next message.
So I can appreciate from that. So there's two ways I'm looking at it. You talked about the man that's violent, because these are some of the questions that will probably come to you later. So you've got that, and you've got the stabbing, right? You can see that's the yucky stuff. But then you've got the stuff, happy, it's still stuff. Sad, but like you said, you can give them the message to let them know that that person is still there and all that. So I guess there's probably 2 ways, because but I still don't know how, especially when you're talking about the little, like, children and just the tragedy stuff. I don't know how you do it. I mean, you're saying that's how you do it, but I still don't know how you do it.
Well, I think with this gift becomes responsibility. Yeah. And I think it's my responsibility to deliver the messages the best that I can. Yeah. So I have to detach, otherwise I can't deliver the messages. That's because right. That room in Bathurst, then there's a room in Wagga, then there's a room in Goulburn, then there's a room in Melbourne, then there's a room in Queensland. So I have to detach so that I can deliver more messages for different people, because we've all got a message that we want, or we've all got, some of them are funny though. Like, we have some funny stories, you just, sometimes I sit there and I think, oh my God.
Yeah, but the problem is, because you've got a really wicked sense of humour.
I've got a dreadful sense
we
of humour.
laugh at things that other
people might find offensive.
But we do, I think we try and bring a different element. It's not all about, it's sad because you're there. Because what are we there for? We're there to reach out to people that have passed away. And it's always sad. It doesn't matter how evil they were. It's still, there's someone missing out of your life.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
we can always seem to find, you know, something.
Some humour in something.
Some humour, yeah.
But you just get, it's you know, I think when you're doing this, for me, it's like you say, oh, I don't know how you do it. It's gone. I'm the conduit. Yeah. It's in and out. When it's out, it's gone. That's why I say don't come up to me at halftime and say Auntie Tracey was for me, because it's too late. It's gone.
Yeah.
I just need to deliver the message, and then I'm bangs. You know. I say, don't bother clapping. Don't bother doing any of that. Let's just keep moving, because I think if people clap, it then stops my flow. So I just want to go. And I know I see some people going, and I just smile, because I don't need that. I don't need that accolades as such. It's just the message. I just want to get through more messages.
Yep.
And it's funny, because when I'm delivering it, sometimes I think, shit, I'm not saying that. And then other times I say stuff and I go, God, who said that? You know, because I'm...
Oh, yeah, you can go... Don't even get me started on some of the stuff that you... And then, well, what's the funny part is when you say stuff you've got no idea that you're saying, and I'm sitting there going, oh my God, there's going to be complaints. Oh my God, I can't believe you said that. Luckily, no one has.
Who are they going to complain to? God?
No, but that's when I ring your girls up and I go, please, thank me for looking after your mother and giving you a break. Because there's been some... Oh my God!
Name one.
No, I can't, because it's just the topic. But you've just some funny ones. There's been some funny ones. Anyway, so what we'll talk about, I think we can talk about in our next episode. I'm trying to think there. There's a few things that you say at your shows that get reactions from people. So I want to delve into that a little bit more. You know, when Tracey will say, put them in the freezer. I love people that haven't been to your show. They go, they look at each other and it's like, what is
not
this?
Their body.
Yeah,
not
and then
their
she
body.
goes, not their bodies. But so there's a lot of things that we can talk about, different ways of people dealing with trying to get rid of that bad energy.
The bad juju.
Yeah, because like we're saying, you do get a lot of those energies come through, and you've
100%.
got mechanisms of how people can work with them. So
and you know, we'll talk about it in the next episode. But I do love traveling. I'd love to do more of it. I just the thing with traveling around everywhere is you need people to come with you, and that's the biggest thing, having people to come with you. I know you come, but
because I don't have a life. Yeah.
Well, but there'll be a point where you go, I'm not coming anymore, and
you
then
keep
I'll go,
telling me that. I can't wait.
When she's got a boyfriend.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait till I'm saying no. And no, I'm joking, because I do enjoy it. It's good. Anyway, all right, we'll leave that there. I don't want to upset you, but I know you enjoy my company. What's not to enjoy?
Oh my God!
We'll see you. We'll see you next episode.
Goodbye.
Bye.